I'm gonna, there we go. Is recorded. As you've joined the meeting, your microphone is currently muted and we've turned off all videos to ensure a smoother experience with this presentation. To assist you further, we'll be providing captions during the session. If you have any questions throughout the webinar, please feel free to type them in the Q&A box and we'll address them at the end of the presentation. So without further ado, allow me to introduce our presenters for today. Dr. Gabriela Fernandez is the principal investigator of this project. She is an adjunct faculty in the Department of Geography and a principal investigator at the Center for Human Dynamics in the Mobile Age at San Diego State University. She received her PhD in urban planning, design, and policy from Politecnico de Milano in Milan, Italy. She received a bachelor's in public administrations with an emphasis in city planning and a master's in city planning from the School of Public Affairs at San Diego State University. Her research interests include urban metabolism, audiologies, and material flow analytics of metropolitan cities. Dr. Fernandez is the Director of Metabolism of Cities Living Lab at San Diego State University and working to localize the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals in Southern California and the Baja California, Mexico region. Bita is a graduate student at San Diego State University and serves as a research assistant at San Diego State University Smart Transportation Analytics Research Lab. She holds a bachelor's in industrial engineering from America Beer University of Technology and is currently pursuing her master's in big data analytics at San Diego State University. Bita's research primarily centers around statistical and data analysis in the field of traffic safety with a specific focus on pedestrian and bicycle safety and active transportation. So at this time, I will hand it over to Dr. Fernandez.
Okay, well, thank you again for having us. We're happy to share the results of our work. This has been ongoing for about 2 years. So we hope that you enjoy the work. Again, this project is evaluating the Safe Routes to School Transportation Program in socially vulnerable communities in San Diego County, California. And my student, Bita Etaati, will be joining me in presenting the work. Again, the presentation will be broken down into 2 sections. The first part will focus more on the evaluating the effectiveness of the Safe Routes to School program. And the second portion of the work will focus on the Kids for Safe Routes VR game tool that we have developed. A little bit about ourselves. Again, I'm Dr. Gabriela Fernandez, the principal investigator of this research. We also have a co-PI, Dr. Arash Jahangiri, who's from the Department of Civil Engineering and also a part of the STAR Lab at San Diego State University. We also have co-PI Dr. Sahar Ganipur, who's also from the same Department of Civil Engineering. We have co-PI Dr. Ming Singh So, who's the director of the HDMA Center at San Diego State University and is part of the Department of Geography. Student Bita Etaati, who's from the Department of Geography and a student in the program of Big Data Analytics. We also had Andric Mercado, who's a recent graduate at San Diego State in the Department of Computer Science. And of course, we also had Christian Mejia, who's a recent graduate in the program of Big Data Analytics at San Diego State University. Again, this work, it couldn't have been possible without the funding and help and support of the safety through disruption. These were all the members that were involved: the HDMA Center, the Metabolism of Cities Living Lab, the STAR Lab at SDSU. Additionally, the safety is a collaboration between Virginia Tech, Transportation Institute, the Texas A&M Transportation, and San Diego State University. And so the idea is to focus on vulnerable communities in addition to proactively promoting safety through a data-driven collaboration. I will now turn over, the presentation to Bita Etaati, who will be focusing on the evaluation of the Safe Routes to School program in our research. Thank you again.
Thank you so much, Dr. Fernandez. So I'm Bita, and I'm a research assistant at San Diego State University. So for the first section of our project, which I'm going to be presenting today, we were kind of focusing on evaluating the Safe Route to School program in Chula Vista. So for today, we kind of want to talk about like the program, like what is Safe Route to School, and then see the previous work and like if we can find like any relevant previous studies. And after discussing our methodology, we want to share the results and conclusions that we got, and we point out to limitations and some of the ideas for future research. Okay, so let's talk about Safe Route to School first. So I'm not sure if everyone here knows about Safe Route to School, but this is a federally funded program that promotes active transportation for school-age children. And by active transportation, I mean using human power as to kind of like move instead of like using cars and vehicles. So it's basically mostly focusing on walking and cycling. And also Safe Route to School has many different, let's say, programs to encourage active transportation, but it's mainly consisted of infrastructure improvements and also educational programs. And in order to kind of like evaluate themselves, they have provided two different surveys called Tallies and Parents. These are standard surveys created by this organization, and they collect surveys before, in the middle, and after each Safe Route to School program intervention. And so we specifically focused on Chula Vista in this research, and there are many reasons why we did that. So Chula Vista is the second most populated city in San Diego County, and not only it is very populated, it also has a considerable number of students living in the city, like 25% of its population. And also, it was very important for us that Chula Vista is an active participant of Safe Route to School program since 2007. And since we were also focusing on socially vulnerable communities in San Diego County, so Chula Vista, based on CDC, Center of Disease and Prevention, was counted as one of the social vulnerable communities. So and we have a couple of questions that we were hoping to, we got the answer for in this research. So the first question would be if the cycling and walking habits of students have changed in Chula Vista with respect to the Safe Route to School program, and what are those significant factors that are impacting active school transportation between students in Chula Vista. Also, we want to know if traffic variables, number of accidents, area demographic, built-in environment, if these variables have any impact on active transportation. Okay, so in order to discuss this thoroughly, we really need to focus on literature review and previous work, which for us, it was mainly consisted of two parts. So to begin with, we really wanted to see what other researchers in this area have really focused on, what were the previous Safe Route to School studies evaluating its effectiveness. And also we took a look at the those kind of articles that were exploring the barriers of active transportation for students. So there are a lot of previous work done for Safe Route to School. This is a very hot topic. So to begin with, so many of the like older studies kind of like, let's say, analyze the impact of infrastructure improvements on increasing active transportation rate within students. And as we move forward, more recent studies are kind of like pointing out to the impact of educational programs as well. And some of them, like in study in California, also believes that even educational programs can be more helpful and encouraging students to walk and cycle to school. And even not only like long-term programs, even like shorter-term programs, like 2 days and 1 day events in schools were found to be helpful in order to encourage students to walk and cycle to school. And there are also studying the barriers to using active transportation, and there are many variables indicated by previous research, like street connectivity, like having proper crosswalk, like having safe intersections. They were all linked to like increase in active transportation, whereas like insufficient traffic lights and high number of accidents were kind of like preventing students to walk and cycle to school. So for the methodology part, I would say we kind of focus on 3 different tasks. So like any other research, like the biggest and most important task was data collection. And we used that data to do statistical analysis on it. And we also created a web-based visualization tool, which I'll explain shortly. And in addition, we created this VR educational tool, which Dr. Fernandez will explain in the second part of this presentation. So our data collection consisted of different data sources. So as I mentioned before, parent and tally data sets are created by Safe Route to School organization, and schools are encouraged to have this to, let's say, surveys before, middle, and after of each intervention. So a parent data set is mostly asking parents their children usual transportation mode to school, and if parents have any concerns regarding active transportation, if it's crime, if it's intersection, like there are I think 12 concerns listed in this survey. And tally data set counts the number of students walking, cycling, and use different other transportation mode in 3 consecutive days, and is usually filled by teachers at each school. So we use these 2 data sets along with Teams data set, which is basically a collection of all of the accidents reports to the police in California, and we filtered pedestrian and bicycle accidents in Chula Vista for that. And we also used a lot of shape files from Sandag and City of Chula Vista in order to create our web-based visualization tool. And in addition, we also collected data ourselves. So we had a case study at Feaster Charter Elementary School, and we collected parent and tally data set for that. We did a lot of statistical analysis, but one of the most important analysis that we did was we create a linear regression model. So the idea was to kind of see if there is any association between students' walking percentage with those criteria listed in parent survey. And by walk percentage, I mean, so we wanted to see the total number of students walking and cycling to school comparing to the total number of students of each school. We wanted to see how this ratio is associated with age group, gender, home to school distance, like parents' concerns about crime, safe intersections, school role in encouraging students. So we had like different criteria. And for this purpose, we created this linear regression model, and we made sure that we use proper evaluation metrics to ensure that our model is accurate. In addition to that linear regression model, we also worked on this logistic regression model, which is basically helping us predict if students walk as their usual transportation mode, or if they use any other transportation mode based on parent data. So this was a classification model that we again built based on parent data set, and we used all of this data to kind of like predict walking to school or not. And again, we made sure to evaluate this model as well. And in addition to the 2 previous models, since we're focusing on evaluating the program effectiveness itself, we compared the percentage of students walking and cycling to school based on both parents and tallies before, in the middle, and after each program intervention at schools. So we kind of like compared this walk percentage in different periods of Safe Route to School program and run a chi-square test to see if program itself was a significant factor in increasing walking and cycling to school. And we also came up with this web-based crash visualization tool. So this dashboard is created with ArcGIS dashboard and other ArcGIS tools. we used Teams data set, we used a lot of shape files, and it has multiple tabs. And it includes information about built-in environment, about like accidents happening in this close to schools, and it provides kind of like a hotspot analysis for the accidents. So as you can see in this picture, this is like a snapshot of the dashboard that we created. And as you can see, like we have different tabs for it. So this web-based visualization tool is kind of an informative tool, letting us know where each school located and what are the accident hotspots, and what are like other important features like around each school, like if it has like proper, let's say, lights, street lights, how is the land use close to that school, what are like the accidents, infographics, like what like different information about victims and schools. And so based on like analysis that we did with dashboard, we know that most of the accidents happened in the western part of the Chula Vista, and 15% of them were fatal. And again, these fatal accidents mostly happen in the western part of Chula Vista. And apparently males were like most victims were male. And these are also other pictures of the dashboard, and you can kind of like scan the QR code on the right part of the this presentation to see it yourself. And yeah, the other two tabs that we were talking about. And as I mentioned before, we also collected data ourselves for Pfister Charter Elementary School. We collected both tallies and parents. So for parents, we had 28 surveys collected from 7th and 8th grade, some of them in Spanish, some of them in English. And we also collected tallies, like we asked school to collect tallies for 200 students in 7th and 8th grade for 3 consecutive days in February. And there were a lot of reasons why we chose Pfister Charter Elementary School, but one of the most important reasons is that after we created that dashboard, we were informed that Pfister Charter Elementary School is located in a very high risk accident spot, and it is one of those areas that we really want to focus to kind of like figure out the active transportation rate. And it also has a high number of students. It's a big school, and it is a very diverse school. And also I have to mention that the staff at Pfister Charter Elementary School were very helpful, and they were very accommodating and helping us with our research and everything. And as you can see in this picture, so Pfister Charter is located in the western part of the city and is located in an accident hotspot. And so let's talk about some of the results that we came up with. So aligned with previous literature review, the distance, like home to school distance, is the most important factor in determining whether students will walk to school or not, meaning that chances are that if students are living closer than a quarter mile to school, and you're more likely to walk or cycle to school. However, based on the analysis that we did, for our database, like only 50% of students living close to a quarter mile to school were walking to school, meaning that we have like a 50% potential that you're not walking or cycling to school. And another important thing is that although like Safe Route to School program itself is not the most important factor in encouraging students walk to school, but still it has a significant, let's say, impact. And then there is an active Safe Route to School program ongoing in each school, meaning it's in the mid program. Students are more likely to walk and cycle to school comparing to before and after program intervention. And also students' perception of active transportation can positively influence their decision to walk to school, meaning that if students think that this is a fun activity, they're more likely to walk to school. And there are also some issues raised by parents, which were significant in our model. We know that crime and distance were among the top concerns that parents raised of why they do not want their children to walk and cycle to school. And also convenience of driving was one of the other factors that were raised by the parents. And presence of sidewalks, crossing guards, safe intersections were also some of the factors that were helpful in increasing walking and cycling to school. And however, I have to mention that less than 1% of students in Chula Vista Elementary School were using bicycle as their primary mode of transportation to school. And so for Feaster Charter Elementary School, we know that around 35% of parents are not comfortable with their children walking to school in any grade. And aligned with the models that we have, more than 50% of parents are concerned with distance, with crime, with safety of intersection, the same as the other studies, other modelings that we did. And more students walk back home comparing to the students walk to school. So like walking rate is slightly higher in the afternoon. And so there were also some limitations I really wanted to point out. So although we were able to find a safe route to school data set, both Talis and parents and Chula Vista had already a good number of data for that. Still, most of this data were kind of like before 2017, and we don't have access to more recent data. I'm not sure if they haven't really done any safe route to school project or if they haven't really documented it, but I think it would be really helpful, especially after COVID, if they try to kind of like analyze more recent data. And also, as I mentioned before, we have a very limited number of students ride and get bike to school, and that would be very helpful if we kind of like analyze why this is the case. And although we know that each school, although we know that what period of safe route to school was ongoing in each school, but we're not really sure what they were doing in that safe route to school program, if they were doing infrastructure improvements, if they were like doing educational programs. We're not really sure because these were not really well documented. I think it would be very beneficial if we kind of like analyze effect of each of this, programs on the walking and cycling trends. Okay, so I guess that's it for the first section of the project. I now pass to Dr. Fernandez, which is going to explain the second section of our project. Thank you.
Thank you, Bita. For the second section of this research, we develop a tool in order to educate children how to walk and cross the streets. We develop a tool called Kids for Safe Routes VR game. So I will explain further on the process of this intervention. So the Kids for Safe Routes VR game intervention, we work closely with Feaster Charter Elementary School, which Bita mentioned is located in Chula Vista in a hotspot area, where we have a high number of accidents, pedestrian accidents, as well as bicycle accidents. In this section, I will start out with the introduction, talk a little bit more about previous research that has developed VR tools, talk more about the methodology and how the VR game was created, talk more about some results and discussions, and ended with some limitations and future research. So what are the objectives of this particular VR tool? So we wanted to develop let's say a tool that can help us evaluate the overall performance of students using virtual technologies in order to develop their own road awareness skills and also improve. We want to make sure that we, to ensure safety, this is one of the major, let's say, objectives, to propose a tool that has an extra examination layer for children's abilities evaluation. The VR game tool allows a child that is considered fit for real world practices achieve a set score. So here we can see the platform and interface of the Kids for Safe Routes VR game. So the Kids for Safe Routes VR game activities include it helps us educate children to follow road signs and traffic lights properly. Also walk properly on the pedestrian walkways or designated lanes. It helps children cross road intersections and junctions carefully at and also without designated zebra crossing. So let's look back at what has previously been done, and also look at some potential opportunities for VR technologies. So currently, there has not been a whole lot of VR tools that have focused on pedestrian and safety education among children. The majority of educational VR tools have focused mostly on medical topics. So this is definitely an opportunity for us to focus on an area that does not have a lot of research conducted. We did come across a study that was developed in the UK where they developed an actual VR game called Virtual Road World in 2017, where the idea was to focus on children ages 7 to 11 to help them practice traffic safety through in-game feedback by guiding the player on what not to do and what to do and what is, and additionally give them scores accordingly based on their behaviors. In this case, the user is giving a series of quests as they navigate their way around a virtual city. So we definitely gathered inspiration from this particular study. So why is it important to focus on VR educational technologies? So VR focuses and allows accessibility to all ages from the comfort of their own home. The vast majority of children, or at least young teenagers, have phones. So they will only need access to a VR headset. We decided to focus on the Google Cardboard because it is very affordable. You can get Google Cardboard as little as $6. Additionally, the VR tool allows children to learn from the comfort of their own home, as I mentioned, without ever having to step outside of their home, and they can thus simulate being in several different scenarios. So now let's look back at our methodology. So in order to work closely with Feaster Charter Elementary School in Chula Vista, we had to have the Institutional Review Board approval. So there was quite a back and forth to make sure that parents were aware that their children were going to be participating in this intervention. Additionally, the process of developing the virtual reality video game was also something that we worked on. Additionally, creating 4 different educational videos, which I will explain shortly. Additionally, not only developing the video game, but also collecting data in real time, which I will talk briefly about. So looking at the VR educational tool intervention itself, the data collection and analysis. And of course, we couldn't have done this work without the help and support of Feaster Charter Elementary School in Chula Vista. So these are the different stages that we had to go through in order to achieve our research and our VR game intervention. We used a software called Unity as our game engine. This was for the creation of the 3D virtual world. Additionally, we used Google Cardboards because it was a cost-effective way in order to support our VR intervention. We focused on iOS and Android mobile devices for our intervention at Feaster. Additionally, we use a Firebase software and C# as our primary cloud storage provider, and program to collect the user game scores using real-time hosting of databases. Communication server on iOS and Android and more. So the data was collected using using the Firebase software and C#. Additionally, we wanted to build an environment that was relatable to students. So we wanted to make sure that we added features such as cars that interact with the player, making sure cars would stop in front of pedestrians, cars would honk in front or near crossings. We had 4 different types of signages, stop signs. We also had stoplights, school crossings, walk buttons that would actually provide audio video at intersections. We had signal timing to make sure that these areas were relatable. We had countdowns, railroad crossing, pedestrians walking around. We had traffic behavior examples as well. And 4 transit safety educational videos were developed, which provided further background information about different scenarios. Additionally, we worked with Feaster Charter Elementary School, where we provided our intervention. So the VR game gives personalized feedback based on the player's performance and provides educational videos to watch to aid their abilities and thus improve their scores. So every student that performed had their own individual feedback provided to them based on their behaviors within the game. We had 26 participants within our intervention. These were children ages 11 to 14 years of age. Of course, we had the IRB approval before they participated in our intervention. These were 7th and 8th graders. So 46% of participants were 7th grade females. So we did have more females than males, compared to 23%, which were 7th grade males. Additionally, we had 73% were 7th and 8th grade females. Again, we had more females than males, compared to 26% 7th and 8th grade males. And 26% of participants were 8th grade females, compared to 3% of 8th grade males. So what did the game consist of? The game consisted of 4 different levels with an addition of a tutorial. So the tutorial allowed users to understand how to play the game. We had an audio, let's say, explaining how to move and navigate the environment. And users can leave at any time. We did not collect any data during the tutorial because we wanted to make sure children felt comfortable navigating the environment before they started the different 4 levels. The 4 levels consisted of different quests. So level 1, we gave students the quest to go to a coffee shop. In this particular level consisted of having 4 different corner intersections with white pedestrians. We had zebra crosswalks and traffic lights with button, with sound and pedestrian signage countdown, mostly of 12 seconds. And the data that you see displayed in yellow are the data that we collected during this process. So for example, on level 1, we collected how many cars were stopped by the user when navigating level 1. We also collected data on how much time each player spent on the road, on the crosswalk, and how much time it took them to cross the intersection. Additionally, if they also conducted bad behaviors, for example, crossing the light on red. Level 2 consisted of a quest to go to a basketball court. In this particular level, we had a T-style stop sign intersection with white pedestrian zebra crosswalk. Level 3 had a quest to go to your friend's house. School crossing intersection with button to request stop were some of the features that were involved in level 3. Additionally, with the yellow ped zebra crosswalk, on the bottom, you can see some of the snapshots. And level 4, we wanted to make sure that it can also be interesting by providing several different environments. So we wanted to include a railroad intersection as part of our VR game, let's say, environment. Because Feaster Charter Elementary School is located near East Street Trolley Station, and it is very much relatable. And these are different scenarios that they will come across in their own daily lives. In this particular railroad intersection level, we can find a railroad intersection that emits sound. So we do hear the train noises. We have the flash lights from the train passing. And so we wanted to make sure we can create an environment that is realistic as possible. Here you can see kind of an overview of what that VR game game looks like. So we have several different options, to start, settings, and credits. Of course, for the start, it will allow the user to go straight into the platform where students can select the tutorial level 1, level 2, level 3, or level 4. The settings allowed us to select if the child was a 7th grader, an 8th grader, and also allowing us to reset the whole process to make sure we collect the data accordingly. And then credits, of course, that is a little bit about ourselves. So this is, we wanted to make sure we included an interface that was friendly and relatable to children. Here you can see the different levels being locked and unlocked. And if you look closely, you can also see that there is next to the play button, we have a lock there. So the first time that children played the game, they had to go through all the different levels. Then we had them watch 4 educational videos, which I will show briefly, and then they had to play once again. So we wanted to make sure how effective our 4 educational videos were before and after they watched the videos. Here are our 4 educational videos. So if you click on the QR code, you can watch some of these 4 videos. They were narrated by a 9-year-old, Ella Camarena. We wanted to make sure that the voice was relatable to children as well. And here we had several different topics where it mentions what a pedestrian is, what let's say vehicles are, what to watch on when you cross intersections. So we had a whole video. These were 1 to 2 minute videos. So we had videos on road and traffic signal safety, crosswalk safety, railroad safety. We wanted to make sure that these videos were not only educational, but fun to watch as well. So there was a lot of let's say audio, and here we have, let's say, our instructor providing further information for each. Here is a couple of, let's say, shots of what the VR game looks like. Again, we try to make the intersection as relatable as possible, making the environment similar to what is expected near the E Street trolley station area. So we also provided buttons where it tells you wait, similar to a real life scenario. We provided several different types of pedestrian crosswalks, some with zebra crosswalks, some without any kind of signage. We also provided bicycle signage as a way to, create more awareness about looking out for different types of signage around. So here you can see quite a bit. Additionally, here you can see how we collected the data. So we collected data while the user was playing the game. So we collected how much time was spent on each level. So we collected the seconds. So here you can see kind of a way of how we collected that. How much time was spent on roads, how much time the user spent on the red light. Additionally, if they crossed on the red light. How many cars they stopped. So if users went in front of the car, if they were following the guidelines that were provided in the educational video. Additionally, we asked users if they enjoyed the game. So that really helped us to understand if the game was enjoyable, if maybe we can improve on the VR game itself. And here you can see again a bit of our interface for the Kids for Safe Routes VR game. Additionally, while the user is navigating its environment, we provide this map on the top right, where users are given a task. So if you see the triangle on the bottom of the square, that is the user walking around. This gives guidance to the user to understand that their finish point is the red flag, and also allowing the user to know where they're currently located and where they have to go. This is something that we integrated. We saw a past VR game that was developed by researchers in the UK who did not provide a map. And so we wanted to improve the accessibility and, also provide adequate instructions that can guide children ages 11 to 14. Here you can see also some other videos of the VR game. We try to make sure that not only creating an environment that could be relatable, but also we had to also program vehicles to behave like real cars and honk in front of other cars and also users as a way to create a much more realistic environment. Here we have a snapshot of during the VR game intervention. So here you can see a couple of our students participating. We had some of our volunteers from the Center for Human Dynamics in the Mobile Age, from STAR Lab and the Metabolism of Cities Living Lab at San Diego State University. Here we you can see the children participating during our intervention. Yes. So what are some of the results that we found? So again, we categorized the data by levels. So we had 4 different levels. And here you can see before they watched the game and after, before they watched the educational videos and after they watched the 4 educational videos. So we looked at their performance before and after. So here we can see that in level 1 and level 4, more students seem to stop more cars after watching educational videos. We believe this could be due to children wanting to see what will happen if they stop cars, or also maybe they could just be having fun. Also level 2 and level 3, students performed better after watching the educational videos. This was very interesting to see that more females perform better than males. Also, for the time on road for each level, pre and after videos, we noticed that in level 1, level 2, and level 3, students spend less time on the road after watching the 4 educational videos. And also on level 4, students spend more time on the road after watching the educational videos. This could be due to children wanting to see again what will happen. Okay. Time on each level. Yeah, students spend more time in each level after watching the 4 educational videos. Level 3 and 4, students spend less time in each level after watching the 4 educational videos. So how much time they spent on the red light crossing for each level before and after watching the 4 educational videos. So students perform better on all levels. So this was great for us to hear after watching all the 4 educational videos and crossed less on red, known as jaywalking, of course. Also, we asked them if they would play again. The majority of students are willing to play the VR game once again. So again, just looking at our results from the total of 26 participants that we collected data on, we can say for certain that time taken on each level reduced drastically in level 3 and level 4 after students watched the educational videos, while in level 1 and level 2, students spend more time in each level after watching the educational videos. In level 1, 2, and 3, students spend less time walking on the road after watching the educational videos. However, in level 4, students spend more time on the road after watching educational videos. This could be due that we performed this let's say intervention right before lunch. So this could have also been a possibility of our outcomes. Other results is that another metric that we collected was the number of cars each student stopped per level. So we saw that in level 1 and level 4, more students stopped cars after watching the 4 educational videos. These were students that did not follow safe walking behaviors. The number of cars each student stopped per level decreased in level 2 as well as in level 3 after watching the 4 educational videos. Lastly, the last metric collected again was this how much seconds it took each student to cross the intersection when the pedestrian light was red. And for this time, time was reduced across the board for all levels after watching the 4 educational videos, with the few exception of students that just wanted to finish the game. So this occurred more often among boys. So what were some of the limitations and future research? So some of the major limitations include that the device that it's running on. So we can definitely try for the future to make things more compatible, also across Apple devices when considering to play this game. The data gives us much more to be desired, with things such as whether they look both ways when crossing, where they ran at intersections, and even the path they chose to the end goal. So I think for the future, we can add other specific characteristics in our environment to make the area much more relatable, including weather or collecting different types of data if they look both ways, as I mentioned. Additionally, the testing the Kids for Safe Routes VR game in other elementary schools in San Diego County could also be something that we can consider for the future. Also, our target age was children ages 11 to 14. So a lot of these children already have some kind of knowledge on how to cross the street. So perhaps if we were to focus on a younger crowd, this could be much more interesting, provide more interesting results as well. And also developing shorter educational animated videos that integrate new transit safety feature themes into the VR game environment. Additionally, collecting further data could also be very interesting, relating to the behaviors that participants had during the VR game intervention, again, such as if they were running during the game, looking side to side, and several different behaviors that children might have during the game. We would like to acknowledge all the different participants, volunteers, different editors, as well as our subject matter and champions. So again, we would like to, none of this could have been possible without safety through disruption. Again, the wonderful group at Feaster Charter Elementary School, Rosario Villarreal, Megan Ramirez, Jennifer Diaz, and many more teachers. The San Diego State University Metabolism of Cities Living Lab, the Center for Human Dynamics in the Mobile Age, and Star Lab volunteers and researchers that helped with the intervention at Feaster Charter Elementary School, as well as collecting data. Of course, also we would like to thank our editors that helped us on our final report, which will be available on the safety website. We would like to thank Laurel, Lydia, and Michael. And of course, at San Diego Association of Governments staff, we would like to thank Marissa Mangan and Samuel Sanfor, who were our project champions and provided feedback to our project, as well as our subject matter expert, Josh Clark, who provided great and wonderful resources for our work. Additionally, this research was presented at several different venues. It was presented at the San Diego State University Student Research Symposium in San Diego, at the ESRI User Conference in San Diego, the One Health International Conference in Catania, Italy, and the International Conference on Sustainable Development that is held in New York at Columbia University. Additionally, our work is part of an exhibition that is currently being displayed at the San Diego State University Library, which is hosted by the Metabolism of Cities Living Lab at an exhibition called Metabolism of Cities Living Lab SDSU for SDGs Leave No One Behind. So if you want to know more about our exhibition, we do have it virtually as well. So you can take a picture of the QR code or we also provide the link, and you can see more of the exhibition on your own. Here's a snapshot of our poster, kind of summarizing our entire work. And again, we provided a VR transit safety game, the dashboard, created wonderful network with Feaster Charter Elementary School, as among us others in Chula Vista and at Sandag. And we also Bita created a video kind of sharing more about the research itself on safe routes to school, the importance of it. So I will not play, but I want to thank you so much for your attention. And if you want to collaborate with us in the future, or if you're interested for us to host, or if you would like to host us, please do get in contact with me or Bita or any of our team members. So thank you again for your attention. Questions?
Thank you, Dr. Fernandez. Do we have any questions? If you do, you could raise your hand and I can give you talking permission so you can ask questions. Thank you, Dr. Fernandez. I do have a couple of questions. How can local governments or schools use their interactive dashboard to evaluate safe routes to school?
Yeah, so since I worked on that part, let me answer the question. So the visualization web-based tool is actually a very good tool to kind of like increase awareness about like different situation around each school. So we have like this accident hotspot, and we can simply say which schools are located in like let's say more dangerous accident spot. Also, we have other like built-in environments in addition to the like accidents, like they can be informed about bike routes, they can know about like traffic lights, like they can have like this, let's say, big picture of the environment around each school and in what terms like they can make an improvement.
Oh, thank you for that, Bita. I have another question. What was the process of the Kids for Safe Routes intervention at Feaster Chapter Elementary School? Did children enjoy the VR game, and what are the next steps?
Yes, so it was going back and forth with the wonderful staff of Feaster Charter Elementary School. We wanted to make sure that parents were aware of the intervention, if they felt comfortable to allow their child to participate. We also made sure that we asked the child himself or herself if they wanted to participate during this intervention. We only had one child who felt nauseous during the intervention while playing the VR. However, the majority of the children that participated were excited to, let's say, get out of class and let's say participate in during this research project. However, I feel that there was also some students that perhaps maybe felt a little bored as we had them watch the 4 educational videos and then play the game again. So we had a mix of children that let's say were excited to play and were happy to play the second time around and watch the 4 educational videos. But then we also had children that were, they just wanted to get through all the levels because again, we performed this intervention right before lunch. So they were also hungry. So I think that could have also been a major factor for our result and findings. Yes.
Yeah, thank you. And then I just have one final question. Do you guys hope to connect with local governments in San Diego County to advocate for transit safety in children or other vulnerable groups? For example, San Diego Association of Governments?
Yeah, so we, as of now, we are definitely open to work with other elementary schools that would like us to, let's say, provide this intervention. But definitely we communicated with the San Diego Association of Governments, SANDAG, which is the metropolitan planning organization across San Diego County. We shared our different tools, also our VR game as maybe potential tools that can be used maybe in other cities. However, SANDAG felt that perhaps maybe we can work closely with them on future research. So definitely right now it's still up in the air and we're still thinking of how we can work together, but definitely we are open. Also even working with children younger than 11 and 14 years of age. And we also believe that this work could be very useful also for Feaster Charter Elementary School, as they can continue to work closely with their students to educate them on the issues that are found near their intersections. So I think that not only the tools are useful, but also the interactive dashboards can be a great way for parents to be more aware of their surroundings when their children walk to and from school. So definitely this could be something that could be used and replicated across San Diego County or other places around the world. So yes, we are definitely open. And again, we use the Google Cardboard because it is a cheaper device than compared to the new technologies, right? And again, it's only $6. I think you could even get it cheaper online, but this was the idea, to make sure that we reach vulnerable communities, but also providing tools that they can easily replicate at an affordable cost.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you very much. So I'd like to thank everyone again for joining today's webinar. The webinar will be uploaded to the safety website as well as YouTube, and you all will be notified via email when it has been completed. So again, I want to thank Dr. Fernandez and Bita for their wonderful presentation, and I look forward to seeing you guys have plenty of success in this project. So thank you very much.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you very much.
Okay, bye-bye.